Who's worse, Erna Solberg or Bjorn Moxnes? Welcome to Nordic Nonsense, where we like to preview the news with a little bit of a different angle. Before I start this controversial comparison, I would like to highlight that I'm not defending anyone, I was just asked my opinion on this subject. And before we go into a long boring introductions, let's jump straight in what I think about those two. So we can start with Moxnes. He stole a pair of sunglasses, something that's not harming the public. At the same time, the amount of it is not that high. And from a left-wing principle, this crime is committed against a capitalist company that is most likely spoiling workers somewhere across the world and should be owned by the government. From a bare Marxist point of view, I would say. He have paid the fine, and he paid the price of his political career coming to an end. And if you would like to see my harsh criticism, you can check the episode that I'm gonna try to leave up here somewhere, where I was talking about Moxnes himself and his crime or his mistake or his whatever you want to call it. On the other hand, Erna Solberg have been falling for a crime. I would like to call it a crime because it is actually repetitive among politicians. This is not the first time that this have happened, and I've mentioned a couple of them in my other episode talking about Erna's mistake, which is going to show up somewhere here as well. I would add to that the fact that Erna, so far, up till the recording of this episode, is denying that she knew anything about this, and she basically put her husband under the bus, which is something that is not very good coming from your wife. But at the same time, it's so obvious. A lot of question marks been raised about the timing since it's been postponed and pushed over until the elections are done. So I would say there is a lack of honesty here. Same game been played by Moxnes until he finally admitted what he have done. The only difference also I would like to highlight here, the fact that Moxnes manipulation have not affected a running campaign or election. In this case, Erna in the worst place, I'd say. The sum of money, as in Moxnes, it's a couple of hundred, while in Erna's case is much bigger sum of money. But also we don't see any signs so far from Erna that she's not planning to end her political career based on this scandal. The one thing also, the fact that the left wing has much less chance to beat the right wing anywhere in the world, basically because the left wing most likely they don't have much money to fund campaigns, to make propaganda, to control the media, to be connected. They don't have much to buy the people and play dirty tricks on them, while on the other hand, on the right wing side, they always have the opportunity to kind of like pay campaigns, cover up, buy people, pay off journalists, sometimes people in sensitive places like policemen or judges or yada yada yada. We see this happening all over the world, but this is won't being never the case for the left wing. As soon as they make a mistake, they get exposed and they won't succeed anywhere in the world unless it's a movement driven by the people, believing in them, choosing them. In both cases, it's much less propaganda involved in Moxnes' case, as the propaganda supporting or would be on the side of Erna if they want to save her, of course. If they don't want to save her, this is a totally different story. Pointed out by a friend of mine. Every time there is a direction to kinda maximize punishment for trading stocks, breaking the rule of conflict of interest, it gets shut down somewhere. Apparently it's something, it's like, all bartenders, we know it's an unwritten rule that they drink secretly behind the bar. Sounds like there is an unwritten rule that a lot of politicians use the inside information to trade stocks. It comes like as a perk of the job. The lousy performance from the Oko cream every time such a scandal pop up to the surface. This is something I cannot understand myself as well. And if you look into the episode of Erna or one of the shorts I posted on my channel, different examples of at least 6 or 7 have happened or popped up on the media in the last 8 years. That's a really big number. We're talking about one case a year almost. Another thing I want to point a finger at is the fact that he got a fine of 20K. This is a really small fine. This is a fine you could get for speeding or driving on a red light. I don't think the fine matches the committed crime. And I don't know why most of the time we are very soft with politicians. This whole episode has been basically freestyled. It was not scripted. It's just like some thoughts came to my head. So pardon me for all these thoughts floating around, but it was just some questions that it needed to be asked. That's it for today. I'm just gonna jump back and continue editing the videos I'm supposed to edit to post out on time. This is Nordic Nonsense, where we like to look at the news with a little bit different angle. Don't forget to hit this subscribe button because apparently it does something to the YouTube algorithms, which is another form of censorship we need to talk about in another episode. Ha det bra!